Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacciana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to take another look at our smoking stand project. This is a stand that I bought a few years ago, was advertised as working, and it did work, it just didn't work completely. Only one of the lights lit up when you toggled the switch. The electric cigar lighter does work, but the last time that we visited this project, we had just discovered in disassembling that a key piece of the glass was broken. At that point, I really wasn't sure what that might do to the timetable of this project. After making the video for the Majestic Views Zippo lighter, I was putting it up in the rotating display when I happened to glance beside me. And what do you know, it looked like there was another identical piece of glass on the other smoking stand, which I knew that stand wasn't working. The electric cigar lighter on it has a wire that's protruding out of the front, and it was actually in a little bit worse shape than I even thought it might be. So what I'm going to attempt to do here is build together one smoking stand of my liking. Hopefully I can kind of combine the glass of the two to make it a little bit better than it was. I don't know. This is just my project. Once again, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm not an electrician. I don't know anything about that. But I figure if we take our time and pay attention to what we're doing, then we can't get into too much trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and position this second stand over here, and we are going to disassemble it similarly to the way we did the other one. And as we disassemble, then I'm going to line the pieces up over here along the left hand side. So I'm going to get that cord straightened out and then pull the glass off the top, get the two ashtrays. Y'all have to take a look and see if any of these are in better condition. I think they're all interchangeable for ashtrays. Now the cigarette holder you're going to see here has a big chip in it on this one, so obviously I won't be using that. It doesn't mean that I couldn't still use it. I'm just not going to use it when I have a better one at my disposal. Now I unscrewed the top ball off of this one. This one's just a simple nut really with a kind of a big marble on it, and then a little pedestal that was a spacer. I didn't have enough room here to have multiple cameras set up, or I didn't think to have multiple cameras set up, and didn't have enough room to get everything on one, so you kind of miss some of that disassembly. You can see how the underneath side of this, I'm not sure what you would call it, I guess the table or the platform of the stand, it is marked a little bit more elaborately than the first one, although the first one is a much heavier cast. It feels like cast iron, where the other one feels more like I think it is a casting, but it could just have easily been a formed piece of metal, like thick sheet metal. There you can see the marking on the first stand that we disassembled. I don't believe I showed that in the first video. So now we're going to have to deal with some tape, and I'm really glad that I went ahead and disassembled this entire stand because this wire was in really bad condition. You can see there was some very old electric tape that had been used at some point, very brittle. And when I saw how precarious that wire was, I just decided to go ahead and break that and pull it through from that direction rather than worrying about pulling it through from the other direction, because that wire wasn't going to be any good to us anyway. So I had also disassembled the burner part of the lighter at one point, well actually kind of the entire thing before, while I was trying to get it off the other way, so I had to put it back together real quick. And I don't know, I may take some of these parts and some of the ones that are left over and just go ahead and list them individually. I know that people look for these kind of parts. There you can see where that wire was separated. But I know that a lot of these glass pieces and the ashtrays, and there are a lot of people out there that are looking to complete a stand like this. So that might be what I do, is try to put one together that I can get the enjoyment out of, and then sell the other parts as pieces. There you have the tube then pulled off of the rod and the electric cable, and then I'm going to start coaxing that wire out the bottom, because we can't get the glass clean off. There's not enough room, not enough margin there to allow that electric cord to be up against that rod or pipe that is the standard of the smoking stand, and allow the glass off the top. So then we get the washer. Couldn't have even got the washer off like that, because that washer was the same diameter as the rod. So we will carefully get this glass off and then inspect it. And this piece of glass is not perfect. I had a hard time telling whether it was actually broken or whether that could have been just the roughness in the way that that lip is finished, but it's obviously in much better condition than the one we were dealing with, which I believe could still be used. It had been, and I will document that at some point, because I noticed some more evidence that it had indeed been taped back together. But this one is good enough. But when I reassemble this, I'm going to use some kind of material to form a sort of shock suppressor between these pieces of glass and the washers and the different pieces of metal that they're coming into contact with, because you're tightening all that stuff down to a certain degree. I also want all the glass to light up, whatever configuration we settle on. But with the original stand, that middle light wasn't illuminated. It's one of the reasons why I am seriously considering the LED lights, and also I just don't really know about using the electric lighter. But the wiring that is on the good one that I have is perfectly fine for the lighter. I think if it was ever okay to use a metal bodied lighter that's plugged into the wall, then this one would still be safe for that. So another step down the road, hopefully soon enough, I'll be lighting up off this thing and ashing into one of these ashtrays with it sitting right over there next to my couch. Until next time.